Have a special guest on the telephone. Phoning in this morning is General Hugh Sheldon himself, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff for the United States Military. General Sheldon, it's an honor. Good morning to you. How are you, sir?
Well, good morning. I'm doing great, thank you.
Now,
had 2 great days on my farm yesterday, so it couldn't be any better.
I said earlier that you are one of the most famous Eastern North Carolinians that we have, and I know you grew up in Tarboro, correct?
Speed.
I did. I actually was raised around the small town, some would call it a hamlet, of Speed, North Carolina, which is about 8 miles north of Tarboro.
Yeah, and I know you won't remember me, but I've run into you in restaurants, and my wife always tells me don't do it, but I always, because I've always admired you so much, I have introduced myself to you in restaurants several times, and I really thank you for your service and what you have done, what you did for our country during your years of leadership with the military as a general, and not only general, but as a chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Are you making your home now? Aren't you? I think you told me once you're down around Carteret County somewhere.
I am. We actually live in Morehead City, and we love it here. I miss Speed, I must admit. That's why I have a farm up there, and I spent 2 days, as I said, just yesterday and the day before there in Speed. My wife Carolyn and I grew up right there in the town of Speed, so we have a great affinity for Eastern North Carolina. Can't think there's a better place to live.
And I've always thought very highly of you. The only issue I've ever had with you is that I know you're a huge Wolfpacker, but we're going to let that go.
Well, I am a huge Wolfpacker, but living out of the country and out of the state for 38 years, I really started pulling for all the ACC teams and Eastern North Carolina teams. I'm a big fan of East Carolina because our oldest son graduated from East Carolina, and I think it's just a terrific university. I just can't say enough good about East Carolina and what I think it's done for Eastern North Carolina specifically, but the nation in general.
Well, I'm joking with you, and of course, I can tell you that I'm a huge fan of NC State, and particularly of your chancellor over there, Chancellor Randy Woodson, who I think is a rock star. So I'm joking.
I don't think they get any better than Randy Woodson. Sure.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. All right.
He is.
So let's talk about why did you? And I got Justin and Mandy in here. And we're talking about the details of this year's Sheldon Leadership Challenge at ECU. Why did you agree to have your name be the namesake of this, and you get involved with this program at East Carolina?
Well, I first of all, I got involved with it from the very beginning because I saw such a need for this type of training, instruction, whatever you want to call it, education of our young people, values-based leadership, teaching them that, the right way is not always the easy way. Most of the time it's the hard way, but it's the right thing to do, and it comes out well in the end. And I saw that as I was retiring from the military. We had just had the Enron crisis. We had Global Crossing and a few up Tyco. And so I said, this is something that is sorely needed, and if we can only make a difference in a few individuals, we'll have made a better nation, better state out of it. When East Carolina said we'd like to get involved, I was the one that was honored by them saying we'd like to get involved. And, I couldn't think of a better school to be involved with and bring the program further to the east and make it more convenient for those kids that maybe found going up to Raleigh to be daunting or more challenging, if you will, than going over to Greenville. And so I just thought it was a great fit, and Mandy grabbed it and has never looked back. She does a terrific job with the program, and I'm honored to be associated with it at East Carolina.
And now, will you, as I understand, you come for the first day, right? So the kids will get to meet you and hear you speak and be inspired by you.
I always try to be there for the first day or the last day to give the graduation. Normally, I like to be there on the first day. It's interesting to watch a group of young individuals like that who don't know anyone in the class normally. They might have one or two friends, but they're normally split up into different groups, and they're scared. I mean, that's the only way to put it. They find this to be a challenge to be there, And at the end of the program, a week later, they're hugging one another. They're actually tears shed, and it's inspiring to me to see it and to hear what they have to say. One kid came up to me about, I guess it was last year, and said, and this is about it, he's probably 13, 14. He said, General, I must tell you, this program has changed my life. And when you hear that, the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and it's all because of the great work that our leaders like Mandy do. And it's just a great program. So I like to be there. I'd like to stay the whole week. Unfortunately, in the last couple of years, I've had to miss a couple of sessions because of the back issues I've been dealing with. But I'm going to try to let that not happen this year.
Great. So if parents listening, this is a great opportunity for your high school student to learn from one of the top leaders in the history of this nation, General Hugh Shelton. And General Shelton, while we're on that subject, talk about leadership a little bit. You talk about the need for leadership. You were at the highest level of leadership in this country. You led our military, and I believe now you were the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under Bill Clinton. Did you also serve under Bush?
I did, almost a year under George W. Bush, and I found both of them to be, from a chairman's standpoint, I found them both to be extremely good. And by that I mean both of these individuals, of course, were quick on the uptake, even though they had limited or no military experience. But they could grasp the most complex situation very easily and decipher from that what their greatest risks were. And they would listen to you. When you were talking to them, it was like you were the only person in the room, and you knew that they got it. So they were both, from a chairman's standpoint, talking to the president. I couldn't have asked for two better leaders to serve for, although they were quite different in other ways. From a military perspective, they both brought the same thing to the table.
You always see in movies where they're in the Situation Room when there's a crisis breaking out in the country, and the president's at the head of the long conference room table, and he's arguing with the Joint Chief of Staff, and the chairman is telling the president what needs to happen, and the president's not agreeing with it. I guess that makes great theater, but it sounds like during your years as the chairman, you dealt with a Democratic president and a Republican president, which must have been really interesting, but as we all know, the military transcends politics, and you were probably the one guy that didn't get political on anything. And it's interesting to hear that you had a great relationship with both of them, and both of them listened to you.
They did. And, you've got your immediate civilian boss as the Secretary of Defense. You both are right there in the Pentagon, and you always discuss what's going to be. He's supposed to work the policy side. The chairman is supposed to make the military operational recommendations. And when those lines cross, it gets really blurred. But the chairman has always got to stand up and be counted, even if it doesn't. And I went into the room a couple of times with my immediate boss, in this case, Secretary Rumsfeld, where we did not see eye to eye. For example, right after 9/11, he wanted to attack Iraq. And I kept telling him there's no basis for attacking Iraq at this point. And everyone in the room agreed with that, excluding the vice president and his deputy, Wolfowitz. But in the end, the president, listened to everyone, sorted through the details, and sided with the chairman. So you just got to have the intestinal fortitude to stand up and make what you think is a good military recommendation, and let the rest of them sort out how the political, economic, and diplomatic and informational programs are going to tie into that.
Interesting. And I know you have an autobiography out. Without Hesitation is the name of the book, and I assume that you give a lot of that insight in your book.
I do, much to the chagrin of some individuals, but I just told the truth, and I say right up front as I saw it. But the cards had to fall where they would, and I have always been one who believed in being honest and candid. And when I wrote the book, I was really concerned about that because I did not tend to deviate from that. So I postponed writing the book until both presidents were out of office.
Yeah.
I did not want to. Create additional problems for them. They've got enough to deal with.
No doubt. And again, if you're just joining us, we're honored to have General Hugh Shelton, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, on the phone. He's coming to East Carolina this summer, the Shelton Leadership Challenge at ECU, which we'll come back and reiterate the points in a minute with Mandy and Justin. And General, as you look back on your career, what do you think about the most? What comes to mind when you think about the years that you served in the military and served this country as the number one ranking military officer in this country? What are your, in retrospect, what comes to mind the most to you?
Thanks for throwing me that softball, because that's probably the easiest one I've ever had, and it's the people. It's the great individuals that you have the honor to serve with. They're selfless. It's not a paycheck that motivates them. It's the desire to do their job for the country. And we get some, dynamite individuals there, and you say, wow, this individual, although he's a lieutenant, he could probably be a vice president in some organization if he tried. So they are really good, and it starts with the privates that you get, and it right on up to the general officers that go through the maze and end up in the top ranks of our military. But invariably, it's the selfless service, their honesty, their integrity. And yes, every now and then you get a bad apple. I mean, you see it almost weekly. You'll see some, individual picked up for doing something wrong. But we weed them out pretty quickly. And once they do that, they are ostracized by their peers, and they are eliminated from the service. So you keep the cream of the crop, and they are really good.
By the way, I didn't really mean for that to be a softball, but I will say that Mandy told me I couldn't throw you any hard balls. So anyway, I got some if you want me to.
Thanks, Mandy. You always got to have someone to cover your six. So Mandy
by the way,
I didn't reply. I thought it was an easy question, but it was, to me, it just jumped out at me that would be the number one thing that I miss the most, the great people that I served with.
Well, it was great to hear you talking about that. By the way, I didn't even, I got Mandy and Justin here on the phone with you. You guys got anything to say to the General this morning?
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to this interview. I really do appreciate it. And your support of ECU and of the Sheldon Leadership Challenge at ECU and my leadership in that has been invaluable. And I am looking forward to seeing both you and Carolyn, hopefully very soon.
General Sheldon, you don't know me, but my name's Justin Davis, and I was actually I was a CMT with the Sheldon Challenge, the inaugural year at ECU. And so thank you for this challenge, and which in turn has given me an opportunity to serve with this challenge. And I just really respect everything that you've done for our country, and also for doing this challenge and helping students of Eastern North Carolina become better and become the leaders of tomorrow.
Well, thank you, Justin, and thanks for your assistance and your help in running the program. And I might add that, this entire program, for the most part, is run by volunteers, and we could not do it without them. And I can't thank them enough. The individuals that come and are part of it do it because they also see the need and want to pass on to the students their very best. And it's delightful having that number, the types of people that we draw into the program, and those that agree to come back and be a part of it after going through the program. I got a letter from a mother about a week ago that basically said, "You don't know me, but my son went through the program when he was a junior in high school. He now is a graduate of the college and has been in the workforce for 2 years." She said, "But I felt that I needed to write and let you know that almost in every conversation he brings up an example or something that he learned while he was at the Leadership Challenge."
That's great.
And it's that kind of impact that says, parents should really look at trying to send their children, their young people to this type of a program, because it really will work wonders for them.
In full disclosure, General, Justin is my nephew, former SGA president of the ECU, a great leader in his own right. So I think he's going to be a great addition to your program at ECU.
Without a doubt, and it's individuals like Justin that that can pass on their skills and show the other students how well they've done when they believe in values-based leadership.
All right, let's reiterate the high points of the program. Mandy and Justin, the Sheldon Leadership Challenge at ECU, mid-July, open to high school students. And again, if people want their high schooler to be involved in this, how do they get involved?
So they can go to the website, www.ecu.edu/Shelton Leadership, or they can call me at 252-737-1349. The dates for that are July 12th through 17th this year, and we are accepting applications through June 1st. We do have a limited number of spots available, so go ahead and get your stuff in.
And as you can imagine, the cost to attend at $600 per student, which is a bargain to get this kind of training and opportunity for a high school kid, but pretty high even for middle class families. So, it would be great to have some folks in the community step up and help send a kid to this year through a sponsorship or scholarship. General, you never know which one of these kids that somebody might step up and help might end up being the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Without a doubt, or the President of the United States.
Yeah.
And this is the type of training that will get them well on their way, regardless of the profession that they want to go into, whether it's a doctor or, any profession. It will help them.
Well, it's been a real honor to have you be part of the program this morning, General. Every time that I see you, I can't help myself. I admire you so much. I have to shake your hand and thank you for your service to the United States of America and all that you've done for the citizens of this country. And I'll say that to you again this morning. We're very proud of the fact that you're an Eastern North Carolinian, and even more proud of the fact that you stepped up and did this program at ECU. Thank you for everything.
Well, thank you very much, and please don't stop coming up to me when you see me. It'll be a delight. It's always a pleasure to hear from great Americans like yourself.
I appreciate that, sir. Nice talking to you.